What's up? My name is Mike. I'm glad you're here. Today I want to tell you about this recurring experience that I had when I was in school. And it was this experience where my teachers would refuse to teach me. And it wasn't even like in a selfish, like, I don't want to teach you because of this, or I don't want to teach you because of that. It was, I think I actually deserved it, if I'm being perfectly honest with myself. No, I deserved it. So, for those of you who don't know, wasn't the best student, barely graduated high school. I think I said in a previous video that a lot of my teachers were telling me that I should just look into GED programs because there was just no way. There was just no way that I was going to get a GPA high enough to graduate. My dad didn't let that happen. I graduated on time with my classmates. It was cool. But that's not what we're talking about today. So when I was in high school, I was in an art class, and I loved art class. I genuinely loved art class. I enjoyed every second of it. But there were a couple of things about it that like really got to me. You know what's crazy? Hold on. Hold on one second. You're gonna love this. Yeah. So I just recently picked up some stuff from my dad's place. Check it out here. Here's some of the actual drawings that I drew in art class. Yeah? See, it's glistening. See, not too bad. Let's see what else. This one right here. Everyone thought it was a self-portrait, and I was like, yo, really? Like, really? What else? There's this one. It's like, I was really proud of this one. This one took a lot of time, like the refraction and stuff like that. Can't really see that one, but it's a couple bottles. And there's like one of like a beaver. That was my favorite one. If I have like a photo of it somewhere, I'll put that up sometime, somewhere in this video. But the beaver, that was like A+ work right there. Anyway, art class, right? I did stuff like that. I did art. Right, so the thing I didn't like about it though was that I would draw stuff like that. Mind you, this is my first time doing art ever, okay? I'm not an artist by trade. It's just something that I was doing because I was in the class, right? It's my first time like exposed to it. So my stuff wasn't the best. All right, let's be honest about that. This is it's okay, but I'm no Picasso, right? So I had a classmate though. We were good friends, and he would always, because I was good at coming up with ideas, he would always come to me and say, what should I draw for this assignment? And I would always look at him and be like, you need to figure that out. Like, this is not my problem. You need to figure out your life and what you're doing right now, because I'm not about to tell you what to do for your assignment. But I was nice. So I'd be like, oh yeah, you should definitely do this. And it'd be really cool if you added this, this, and this, right? And he would take my advice. And he'd come to me and say, hey, I started, I'm halfway done. How do you feel about this? I'm like, it's okay, but like the shading needs some work. Like, just do a little bit of this maybe. And he would get A's on all his assignments. And guess what I got on my assignments? The person who was giving him all of his advice. I was getting C's. I was getting C's on everything. How does that make sense? Someone explain that to me. You can't. It doesn't make sense. So I started to get really upset with my teacher. One day, we were doing some assignment. I don't even remember what assignment we were doing. We were doing an assignment, and I was getting into an argument. I used to argue a lot with my teachers in class, in front of the rest of the classmates. And of course, like, no teacher wants that. It's like a power struggle, right? So like, as a teacher, you kind of have to make an example out of a student when they try to start some stuff in front of the class, because you don't want other kids acting anyway. So I was arguing. I get sent out of class. They're like, go to the principal's office, blah, 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 blah. I'll deal with you later. I'm like, okay, I've heard this before. I was feeling a little crispy that day. I was feeling a little bit crispy. So I opened the door, grab my stuff, open the door, step out, and slam the door shut like as hard as I can behind me to make a big old scene, because I was gonna win that argument. I was gonna get the last laugh. What I didn't realize was that when my teacher said, I'll deal with you later, she really meant, I'm about to follow you out the door. So I literally slammed the door in her face. And I didn't know that. I didn't look behind me. I was just, I'm just mad, like this edgy kid, like, I'm gonna slam the door shut. Anyway, she didn't like that. And I remember she went with me to the principal's office, and this poor principal, he had to deal with me so much. Yeah, if you're watching this, you know who you are. And I'm not really that sorry, to be honest, but like, it kind of sucks that you had to deal with me. Can we at least agree on that? Yeah, that was unfortunate. Anyway, he saw me, he saw her, he probably already knew what was about to happen. And she goes, I refuse to allow Michael back into my classroom. He's too disruptive. He's too argumentative. He doesn't do his work on time. And I looked at her. That was the one that got me. Disruptive, argumentative. Okay, you got me. Didn't do his work on time. What? Like that? No. But she was lucky. I kept my mouth shut that day. Anyway, and basically she told me she didn't want me back in her classroom. So the principal kind of looked at us and he was like, okay. He said, Michael, why don't you go ahead and gather your stuff? Just come down and sit in my office, and you can finish your assignment in my office. I was actually kind of okay with that, because I didn't have my buddy asking me all the time about what he should be doing. I didn't have her coming at my life 24/7. I didn't have my classmates just like generally being classmates, I was like, I get to sit down and do my work. So I actually kind of like that. But for the rest of the semester, I took art class in the principal's office. And this isn't the first time, actually that was the first time, but it wasn't the last time that something like that happened. The next time was actually, this story actually kind of hits home a little bit for me. So excuse me for a second. The second time that happened was in speech class in high school, and the teacher this happened with is like no longer with us, which is why I kind of like hesitate about telling the story, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tell the story, because this is my life. These things happen and I want to get it out there. So my speech teacher, bless her heart, most of my teachers didn't really seem to believe in me or believe that I was doing my own work, right? So I feel like I was naturally kind of good at public speaking, and especially speech in general, so I never really prepared that much. I like to just speak off the top of my head. So I didn't prepare like a huge long speech like most other people did. And whenever we would do check-ins and she would just see how everyone's progress is going, like I would always have less than everyone else, because I didn't want to have a whole speech written out. I just wanted to have points that I could read off of, right? And she didn't like that, because that's not what the class was. So come time for speech day, I actually did write more than I had in the past, because the last few times she kept saying, you need to have more stuff, and I was like, okay, fine. So I actually made like a nice list of things. But The issue is that I changed my speech topic after she kept telling me to add more stuff. And I changed the speech topic to why speech class is useless and why no one should have to take it. And when the day came for us to give our speeches, I was looking at it, and one of my friends, he knew what I was up to. I had asked him, and I was like, should I do this? And he's like, yeah, that'll be funny. You know, that's like my friends were bad influences. But I looked at him the day of, and I was like, you know what? Nah, like, this is going too far. I think this is going too far. And he's like, yeah, it might be. It might be. Like, what? You just told me a week ago. Anyway, so I actually crumpled up my speech, threw it away. And I was like, I'm not gonna give that speech. I'd rather just like take a failing grade than give that speech. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It didn't feel right. But what she did is she came up to me, because I was the next speaker, and she just came up to me and she's like, let me review your speech, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I actually don't have it. I didn't want to tell her about what the speech was. I just said, I don't have it. I'm like, I'll take the L on this. Like, you know what? You don't even want to know. And she looked at me and she went, I knew you wouldn't have anything ready. And so when it was my turn to do my speech, I stood up, I went to the trash, grabbed my speech out of the trash, went up to the podium and started giving my speech. And I started off, I was like, my name is Michael Mahung. You know, we always had to introduce ourselves. Hi, my name is Michael Mahung. Thanks everyone for coming and listening to my speech today. Today, my speech topic is going to be about why speech class is useless and why they shouldn't even teach it at school. And I continue and continue and continue and continue. And then I hear a door shut. And I look up from my notes. Everyone's mortified. The teacher had left the room crying. And again, I kind of knew where this is going. A few minutes later, the principal comes in, goes, hey, Michael, can I speak to you in my office real quick? And I'm like, okay. Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to take speech class inside the classroom with my classmates anymore. I had to take speech class in the principal's office. So that was 2 classes. That was actually 2 classes in high school. I think it only happened in high school. But yeah, I had 2 teachers that literally would not allow me back into their classrooms, and they just refused to teach me. I had to do everything myself. Oh man. What's funny is I was voted, I didn't even nominate myself. For the senior speaker, you were allowed to nominate whoever you wanted. I was voted as the speaker for our senior, was it middle school? I think it was like middle school. I think it was like our middle school graduation. So I must have got my timeline mixed up. But anyway, for something, there was something going on. But there was some speech that I had to give, and I was voted by my classmates as like the person they wanted to give the speech, which was like, I didn't even know where that came from. But anyway, I remember this vividly. After the speech, she went up to me and she was like, I'm so proud of you. And she was going around telling all the people, telling all the parents, telling all the other teachers, telling all the people in that auditorium, she was like, I taught him. He took my speech class. And I was like, yeah, yep, that was all you. That was all you. I wish you would try to say that when it was just the 2 of us and not this whole group of people and my parents, because, my parents weren't there. You would have got all kinds of words and opinions. But I kept it to myself because that day I was a good boy. But yeah. Those are some of the experiences that I went through in school. Yikes. Thinking back about it, it's not great. I hope my kids don't end up being like me. I mean, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit like me, but not in those ways. I'd be okay with not having to deal with that as a parent. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. But anyway, that's all I got for you today. I hope you have a good rest of the night. I know I will. Yeah, I know I will. It's been a really good night. Well, until next time. Have a good one.